Hi, Alia. It's wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
First of all, I guess congratulations are in order for your new role at Edamama.
Thank you so much.
Okay, starting off, I would like to ask, we've seen actors endorse or launching a clothesline before, but in most of the cases, it's usually, the actor lending their brand name to the clothesline, not really being hands-on with it. Tell us how different is it with you and Edamama?
Um, so one day I was, just going through a presentation with my team about launching a fashion label. And I said, I'd love to do a label. I'd love to have something that is just mine and kind of owned by me. But do we need another generic fashion label? There are so many fashion labels that are out there right now, so there's no dearth in the market for that at all. I asked a very just one pointed question that listen, as far as I have understood, all path breaking things that have come up in the past couple of years have always filled a gap in the market. So is there a gap? And if it's not in fashion, we can move to another, you know, another space as well. I'm open to that, but I want to fill a gap. And we found out that there is a gap actually and a need for a world-class children's clothing brand that is purely made in India.
Okay.
And that instantly got my attention because I was working on a series of stories that spoke about a little girl and her dog setting out on adventures to save the planet from any ecological harm. So we decided to take that story and make that our brand story. So this is not just another brand that I'm lending my name to. In fact, my name is not even on the brand.
Right.
The brand is called Edamama, which is actually inspired from my cat Edward. Because he's you can say my baby, and I'm his mama. So this is a brand for babies and for their parents, and it was basically for children and for their parents, because eventually in the early years, it is the parents who choose the clothes for the children.
Okay.
So it's an inclusive brand for both of them. And yeah, right now it is a small brand. It is still a startup. It's a bootstrap company, and I have moved from investor to founder with this brand. And like I said in the beginning, we had to fill the gap of being a homegrown children's wear brand. It's exactly that. It's homegrown, it's self-funded, and it's. I'm still learning about venture capitalists, but for now, it's my vision, my venture, my capital.
Okay, so this is fully owned by you. Now, one of the most important things associated with a brand is its name. So, what's the story behind Edamama? I mean, you told us briefly, but did you have other choices to go with, and did you finally reach this one?
So it started off with my story series. So before Edamama was actually a clothing brand, as a conceptual idea, before we even came to that, I was like, okay, we'll have this little girl and her dog, we'll call the dog Ed, because it was just purely that was because of Edward. I said Edward would be too much, so we'll call the dog Ed. We were struggling with the girl's name. We were like, what do we call the girl? We wanted a name that was global, but at the same time spoke to Indian culture, and we just needed something that just connected with everyone. And eventually I'm like, okay, but why can't and then I don't know how the mother part of it came. I think that came because of the brand. I said, but mama is such a global word. It's the first word that comes out of your mouth, as a kid. And that is something that anybody in any corner of the world can connect to, especially in India. So we said, let the girl's name only not be, let her name just be Mama. And then that's how it kind of, we joined it together, and that became Edamama.
Okay. Now, I was reading, and the USP of Edamama is that it's naturally sourced, it's sustainable apparel. Also, conscious clothing is a phrase that's been used. Would you like to break down these phrases for our viewer to tell us how the brand is environment friendly?
Okay, so just purely breaking down from the fabrics that we use. We use all natural fabrics, cotton, linen, nothing synthetic, all plant-based and degradable. Even our buttons on the clothes are not plastic buttons. If we do, for any reason, have to use plastic, we reuse and recycle that. That reuse, reduce, recycle is a big part, of our brand story. We don't let any fabric go to waste. So even when when we're manufacturing, we're making clothes, any leftover fabrics are turned into hair ties, or little potlies. We make little potlies because in those potlies, with each garment comes a little seed ball.
Okay.
So that seed ball is a seed waiting to be planted. It's also an activity for the child and the parent to do together, and you're adding to the just the greenery on our planet, in our world. So it's just in every way, every part of the garment, even through our prints, every print is, to spark a new idea and, to break any kind of gender stereotype. In fact, our limited line of organic cotton t-shirts, which are gender neutral t-shirts, have done very, very well. And that has been quite a big learning for us. So there are so many aspects to it being a fully conscious clothing brand. And what we have, enjoyed most is that most people are responding very positively, saying that finally they feel like conscious clothing and ethical clothing is affordable. It's no longer a far-fetched thought that, oh, it's going to be so expensive. It's extremely affordable, and because of our price points and stuff, and people have responded very positively with that. So these are all various aspects in which.
I also saw some messaging which was, go.
Yeah, a slogan.
Yeah, which are more environment friendly or directed towards.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many slogans like tree hugger, then eat your veggies. Our collections also, we have a veggie squad collection that really promotes eating vegetables. It's one of the things that mothers and fathers struggle the most with when it comes to kids. Whenever I meet kids who are, fans or whatever, their parents always tell me, please tell them, Alia, you eat your vegetables, right? So I always just sit down and tell them. I said, I eat my bhindi, I eat my, all of this. So I was like, okay, listen, we have to do something to do with vegetables, and that also goes very well with the environment. So,
okay, unfortunately, being eco-friendly or somebody who cares for the environment, especially among celebrities, is just seen as a trend. And it's almost seen like, acha, it's a part of the trend now. But tell me, have you been consciously a person who has been sort of conscious about the environment and the ecology? Have you been? Is it something that's been of interest, of passion for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been very passionate about animals because of my sister. I started off very, very young, caring about animals. When I would say grew older, I realized that, okay, there's more to there's so much more to care about, because our planet is made up of course, our environment, plants, etc., animal and people, and our people, which is why I started an ecological initiative called Coexist, which encourages and pushes to better relationships between man plus planet. It's animal plus planet.
Okay.
Eventually, I cannot claim to have all the information, and I don't, which is why even through Coexist, I'm constantly learning. But I thought that it could be something that I shed light onto, topics and conversations, and just basic facts. If I can use my social media influence and just my basic influence to begin a conversation, that's a lot of, good done, vis-a-vis conservation and ecological welfare. I also started an initiative which is a clothes selling initiative called Me Wardrobe is Su Wardrobe, which basically increases the shelf life of clothes, and which is what I found out through research is one of the biggest reasons of a lot of damage done to our planet and our environment, because a lot of the clothes land up in landfills and, get burnt and discharge a lot of harmful things for the environment. So giving shelf life to clothes itself is kind of helping, is kind of not in many ways helping the environment. And even the clothes, the money that I get from that, I give back again to the environment. That's my personal cause, but also to people. So in my own way, when it comes to conservation, I think I believe the best place to start is to start young, which is why through Edamama stories, I'm trying to nurture a love for nature within kids. So it's like we have our own, kind of planet of mini, planeteers, who are just like fighting for the environment. Because if you instill in them those values when they're young, and you see kids have a natural tendency to just like care for plants, care for animals, care for the beautiful soil, mud. They have that tendency born in them somewhere. If you nurture that on a continuous basis, which is why I also feel like it has to be an important, very, very part of school curriculum now, just planet conservation and, being extremely, extremely thoughtful to your environment. So if you kind of put that into their minds extremely young, then you have the planet protected for the future.
Right. Absolutely right. I learned that the brand went on, started selling about 3 weeks ago online.
6 weeks,
so usually any brand which would have launched with a bang, with promotions and, a lot of media interviews and all. But you waited for this 3 weeks run before you started speaking about it. What was the strategy behind that?
We wanted, so actually that we had all that planned, to be very honest, before the pandemic. And then, the lockdown happened and it kind of changed a lot of things. Everything went a bit topsy-turvy. But I'm really grateful that happened, to be very honest. I mean, not grateful in that way, but I think we learned even with what happened, even with a little bit of setback, we learned actually that this is not a film which releases on a Friday and leaves after a couple of weeks. This is a brand that is here to stay, hopefully. So we have to, the approach cannot be just one loud bang and then a lull. So that I wanted to, in fact, just start small. Wanted to iron out any glitches in the beginning, see the way the product, was working with the consumer, see what we could better, see how we could do, understand it a little bit, because I don't know anything about business. I'm doing this for the first time. I have a whole team to support me and support the brand. But we wanted to take that time out in the beginning to just kind of understand how things were going. And it just started off really well, purely on product. People were really, really responding to the product. And we still have a long way to go. This is just the beginning. But 70% of our sales sold out in 6 weeks. 20% of some of our collections completely sold out in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So these are all very encouraging numbers. And like I said, it's a long way ahead. So let's just see.
Okay. So Alia, you also invested in a cosmetics company recently. There was a time when a celebrity could endorse anything without putting much thought into it. But times have changed, and probably rightly so. And there is now public scrutiny. Actors endorsing fairness creams ads, for example, have been called out. As an influential artist, how much thought do you put into what you're endorsing?
It can't be too much thought. Yes, of course, your principles and values have to be in place.
Right.
But if you overthink every little thing, then it's a Pandora's box, to be very honest, So you have to just go with your instinct and relatability. I relate to the brands that I have signed with and that I'm endorsing. And the same goes with my investments. It has to be relatability. Eventually you're investing in people and their vision. And that's the same thing as brand endorsements. You assign yourself to a brand that you feel matches your personality or something that you believe in. So it shouldn't be too much of an overthink, I feel. It just has to come from here. Anything that you could think so much about, you should just park for some time and say, forget it, I'll maybe look at it another time. If it comes like this and it's like, okay, this works for me.